I'm really happy to be here with you. You're incredibly successful, not just your 2019 results, but the results that you've had, as we saw today, over the last decade and longer. But I get to walk in and really experience your culture. This is such a special place. And you're just here celebrating, your accomplishments, you're looking at numbers, but I can tell you what I see, which is this is a wonderful, warm culture. I mean, I immediately feel like I know you. You're all just nice and nice to each other. And I can't say how many people said to me just automatically, we really love Coldwell Banker. We really love Coldwell Banker Danforth. This is a great place to be. This is a massive, successful company. Coldwell Banker itself has over 92,000 real estate agents. We're in every state and we're in 45 countries. So you're part of something really powerful. And at Coldwell Banker, our mission is to help you leave your mark. And that can be so many things. It's to leave your mark in the world of real estate, and that can mean for you something different than it can mean for the person sitting next to you. You really are Coldwell Banker, and I so appreciate everything you're doing every day to represent the company so well, because you are Coldwell Banker, and people are really attracted to our brand as a trustworthy brand full of integrity because of the way you conduct yourselves. So thank you for that. You're awesome.
Our office has taken on CBX Biolocator as a whole, and we sell typically 7 days faster than the entire MLS for about 50,000 more than the competitions.
My first 6 months, I closed a little over $1 million in business. My first 18 months was 10 million, and predominantly in listings. The listing experience well let me do that.
My name is Valerie Danforth, and I want to tell you why you should consider making the switch to Coldwell Banker Danforth. Our mission at Coldwell Banker Danforth is to help you grow your business and not ours. We've turned the industry model on its head by providing a zero commission split. That's right, you heard me. We take zero splits out of your commission because you've worked hard for your money and we think you should keep it. We also provide a support system that's second to none. Our proven platform, training, and staff are focused on helping you keep your business running as efficiently and effectively as possible. There's a reason our brokers have sold over $10 billion of real estate. Not to mention, Coldwell Banker's internationally recognized brand provides you instant credibility on a global scale. Our commercial and property management divisions broaden your offerings, and our peer network is ready to help you succeed beyond your limits. So please give us a call. We'd love to share with you more about why over 380 brokers have made the switch to Coldwell Banker Danforth.
And I know that me and John, we went around to numerous brokerages, and what drew us to this brand was the power of our technology and the fact that no one else is doing this.
I started doing some research on how much our commissions we were giving up. So I looked into Coldwell Banker Danforth and saw that we were going to make, on average, about $15,000 more a year than what we were making at the other Coldwell Banker franchise. I fully expected a complete drop-off and training and support because of that. But what we received here is far superior and surpasses anything that I've ever received.
I like Coldwell Banker Danforth because it feels more like a family rather than just another brokerage that I hang my license at.
I wanted that small family atmosphere with the global brand recognition. And ever since day one, I felt that here at Coldwell Banker Danforth.
The support at Coldwell Banker Danforth has helped me grow my business because they have a great support system. In the fast Seattle real estate market, time is of the essence, and they make sure that they get back to you and you can complete your transaction.
One of the things I really like about Coldwell Banker Danforth is the community involvement and the opportunities that I have to be part of something bigger than me.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Tom Rolfe. I'm filling in for Dave Danforth. He is out on vacation this week. We've got a great class coming up with Clara Capano. If you have not seen her before, you'll enjoy her. She's got a lot of energy and she is a very interactive presenter, so please make sure that you ask questions as we go through. We have a pretty simple agenda today. After my brief comments, we kick right in with Clara, and then at the end we'll have a Q&A. We've introduced something new recently. It's called the CB Danforth Network, and the point is to get brokers to be able to share their experiences. So if you are somebody that's experienced and you're interested in being a mentor or coaching or providing services such as transaction coordination or even simple running errands, or if you're somebody new and wants to be mentored, whichever way it is, you can become a part of this and get hooked up with somebody that either has the services that you are looking for or is interested in the services that you can provide. So just go to Facebook and search for CB Danforth Network and make a request to join. Gen Blue is coming up. This year it's virtual. It's September 16th and 17th. This is a great opportunity to be able to participate in Gen Blue without the travel and hotel expense. So it's not too late to sign up. You can go to genblueexperience.com. We've got some great events coming up in October. Everything is on cbdanforth.com/events. Get in the habit of using that. The registration links are there as well. October 6th, we have the 2010 series with Coldwell Banker. Kevin Moen puts that on for us and talks about the tools that are available and usually does a deep dive into one particular thing or something new that's coming out. We have another ninja training on October 15th with Clara Capano, and she's actually going to have another ninja trainer on the call as well. And we're going to be doing a very open question and answer about ninja and going into what it is and what it can do for your business and why you should attend the live training that's coming up in January. Well, I say in January, the first part of the year. We don't have it nailed down yet. We're still trying to get clearance for having large gatherings for the in-person training. October 22nd, we have CORE. For the first time ever, we will be doing a CORE class virtually. You will get 3 free clock hours. It's being taught by Annie Fitzsimmons. Everybody loves Annie. This will be open to everybody. It's not just our brokerage. So if you've got friends or people that you've worked with at other brokerages, please feel free to share the link and they can sign up as well. I mentioned briefly at the beginning that we like the questions. I will be watching the questions as they come in and try to slow down Clara long enough to answer them. She's a very quick presenter, but she's pretty good about not getting upset when I interrupt her for a question. So please put them in as they come to mind, and I will inject them as we can throughout the presentation, as well as there will be additional time at the end. So, one other thing that I would like to add is we had a record month in August, not just for the year or for a pandemic. Since we've been tracking, we had a record August. That is amazing. You guys are really busy out there. Keep up the good work. It's amazing what it's done, what this whole thing has done. I think it's just kind of shifted the business off 60 days or so. So I'm looking forward to a busy fall as well. So let's bring Clara in and kick it off. Clara, go ahead. You can take over the screen.
Hello. Let me go ahead and pull my screen up here. Hope you all are doing well. I know there are a lot of fires going on in your neck of the woods, so please be safe. I know how scary those can be. And congratulations on a great month. That is fantastic and just a huge accomplishment for all of you. So definitely a round of applause for all of you there. I want to apologize for those of you that have been with me on my classes. This is our fourth one. We talked about adding value, swimming in abundance. We've talked about leveraging time. Today, we're going to be talking about managing distractions. I am on location this week. I am actually in San Diego, in my hometown, San Diego, and I'm here because it's my father's 90th birthday today. So I am here. So I have asked my family to be a little bit quiet, but we're loud Italian. So you might hear mom and dad popping into the background or one of my sisters, but hey, we're talking about distractions, so might as well roll back into it. I created this class several years ago because distractions happen. And they are all over the place. And I got really tired of people saying, just ignore them. You just got to deal with them. And the reality is they're not going away. So it's not about ignoring them or just dealing with them. We have to learn how to have strategies to allow us to better manage them. Because distractions, albeit that they're real, are also extremely costly to us and to our business when it comes to our ideas of focus. So again, please ask questions if you have questions. I'm going to first go through sort of the deadly side, the danger side of distractions, and then share with you some strategies that hopefully can help you manage them. So Robin Sharma, who is one of my mentors, he is a trainer, speaker, and just does an amazing job. If you don't follow him, I highly encourage it. He has a quote that we share in Ninja, and it says, "An addiction to distraction is the end of your creative production." Because again, it stops us from what we're doing. And that's really what a distraction is. It could be anything from a phone call coming in.
Clara, your audio just dropped way off.
Did it? Let's see. Let me go back to Zoom.
I think maybe you might have just got a little too comfortable and leaned too far back in the chair.
Can you hear me better now if I'm right here?
Yeah, much better.
Okay. So we'll just keep doing that. So the idea is, a distraction can be anything. It can be a fly going past you, someone walking past outside a window, phone calls coming in. So they're real. But let's talk about the power that they have and how they interrupt our focus and the detriment that could bring. So many years ago, there was a schoolroom in London, and there was actually 2 third-grade classrooms in the school. One happened to be located on the left-hand side of the building, and one was located on the right-hand side of the building. The one that was located on the left side of the building, for whatever reason, the students were always behind, about 90 days behind in their testing results, just everything. And they couldn't figure out why. They changed teachers, they changed lightings, they changed subjects for different times of the day, and nothing seemed to work. Well, fate intervened and there was a leak or something that happened in the classroom. So they had to move the classroom on the left side of the building to another room on the right side of the building. So now both classes were on the right side of the building. Within 30 days, that class that was behind had caught up to the other classroom. As they further investigated, they noticed that on the left side of the building, about every 15 minutes, the train would go by. And the train going by, even though it was not blowing its horn and it was not stopping, it was just enough of a distraction to snap the kids out of their focus and redirect them. And it was that loss of focus that had to help them get positioned back in. And it's those distractions that actually put us behind. Because the reality is, we get distracted about every 3 minutes. I think for some of us, it seems like it's even more than that. The scarier thing is it takes us about 11 to 15 minutes to get back and get refocused. So if you think over the course of an hour, we are not getting a lot of productive time and a lot of focus time if we do not have a way of managing these distractions when they come in. You know, as a coach, people always ask me, when I tell them, you know, what is one of the things that you really want to accomplish as we coach together? They always sort of joke and say, oh, I would love for you to find me another day or more time in my day. Here it is. This is where we can do it, because most of us are losing between 2 and 3 hours a day in productive time by getting lost in distractions. So we want to have more production. If we want to work smarter and not harder and not longer, we've got to start paying attention to these things. So why do we allow distractions in? I really feel it's for these 3 main areas. The first thing is, if something's hard or uncomfortable, we don't want to do it. So we'll allow ourselves to get distracted. You know, maybe if I don't want to make calls to my current clients, oh, you know what? I'll go and I'll focus on creating this flyer, or I'll go and I'll do this online class because it's a distraction to something that's uncomfortable. We have this need for the things that are going on around us, that fear of missing out, or FOMO. You know, we want to know what we're missing out on, what's happening, so we allow the distractions to come in. It also could be that we need to interject things and we need to, again, feel more important or feel recognized. This is a big draw behind social media. We want to hear the little dings. We like to see the thumbs up on Facebook to know that people are paying attention to us. It's that need for human connection. So looking at, for you, you know, what are some of the things that you have? Because as you start to know why you allow distractions in, it's going to help you as you build the strategies around them. A lot of us pride ourselves on being multitaskers, and we wear it like a badge of honor. So I'm going to do a little exercise for you to show you the truth behind multitasking. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my ABCs and my 1, 2, 3s, things that we've known since preschool. So what I'm going to do is out loud, I'm just going to count from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Super easy, super fast. I think we all could do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the letter A to the letter J. A, B, C, D, H, I, J, H, I, J. That's, again, pretty easy. Even though I messed it up a little bit, still pretty easy. What happens, though, when we have to put them together? A1, B2, C3, D4, E5. You know, by about E, we kind of start to fall off. That's multitasking. And the truth is, multitasking doesn't exist. Because when we multitask, our brains have to shift from one side to the other. It has to switch from one compartment, from the rational to the logical. And what happens is it slows our processing down. And what we find is that when we try to multitask, a couple of things happen. First and foremost, generally it takes us twice as long to do something, and we will complete that task with 3 times greater error. So think about if you're having surgery. Do you want your surgeon to be multitasking? Do you want to have to be under anesthesia twice as long with 3 times greater error? I don't think so. But think about if we're writing a contract and talking with someone else, answering our phones and putting together an inspection notice. We could be opening up our clients to error. Also, is that the level of service we want to provide? Is that it's going to take twice as long for me to put a contract together for you? Oh, and by the way, it might have 3 times greater error because I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 other things at the same time. So we've got to really ward ourselves off. And the idea is we want to have focused attention. So here's another scary thing. Every time we switch, not only does it take us twice as long, we actually kill our brain cells. What studies have found is that when you multitask, your IQ drops 10 points. If you were to smoke a joint, your IQ drops 5 points. So the idea is most of us would be a lot better showing up stoned than the multitasking than the way that we're showing up to work right now. And I'm not telling anyone to go and do this, but think about if you had an assistant. Think if you had an assistant that showed up every day and was inebriated. Chances are you'd fire them, definitely send them home that day. But we are showing up not at the level of which we need to show up with. And again, it all comes back to not just for us, but for our clients. Are we really delivering the level of service to our clients when we are allowing distractions in. So we've got to be more aware of these, and we've got to protect our time and protect our focus, not just because we need it, our clients need it too. So what are the main forms of distractions that come in? I think it's the emails, the phone calls, the text messaging, all those news updates that come in, the news feeds. It could be the office drop-ins, the gotta minutes, and then again, the self-induced multitasking, telling us that we can do it. I think when we look at realtors in general, there's really about three that I feel come in. I think the biggest ones for us are the phones, the emails, and then the people that are around us. So let's take a look at all three of these and break them down a little bit. First of all, for the phone. Again, I love my phone. My phone allows me to stay connected. It gets me, information. But just like I'm here with you right now, it would be extremely rude of me to be answering my cell phone, to be putting text messages back. I am here with you, and this is where my attention would be. But there was a study done, and they asked people, would you be willing to give up your phone? And it was amazing. People would give up caffeine before their phone, alcohol before their phone, sex, and even wearing shoes. People are so attached to their phones. And I know that there is a comedian, and he was like, oh, when we were kids, we would just leave the house, no big deal. Now, if we leave the house for 3 minutes and we don't have our phones, we're having heart palpitations and stress attacks and anxiety breakdowns. We can't be so connected to our phones. We have to learn to put our own self sort of in do not disturb mode so we don't have to multitask. And I'm going to share with you a really easy tool on how to do that. Our emails. And we have emails coming in all the time. First and foremost, we really encourage our people, do not check your email first thing in the morning. I'm not saying don't check it until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm just saying give yourself 30 minutes, 45 minutes to check your email. I was talking with one of my clients 2 days ago, and she was saying she was getting pulled back into this realm, and so we were revisiting the habit. And she says, I know I'm checking my email at 6:30, and if there's a problem, I just sit there and I kind of stew on the problem. And I said, there's nothing you can do with the problem at 6:30. The problem's still going to be there at 8 o'clock, which is when you can actually deal with it because you can get people on the phone. So why are you looking at something that you can't even deal with for an hour and a half? Go and meditate. Go and get your morning set up for success. Because we all know the second we open up our email, we're going down the rabbit hole. And it's going to take our mindset in a direction we don't want to go. Our email, we need to keep it clean and organized, because if you have 2,000 emails in there, even though you're not looking at all of the emails, just simply looking at the inbox that says 2,000 emails, again, it's that train that the students found where it's just going by and it's just enough to take your eye off the prize and take you out of focus. So when you are in your focused area, turn off your notifications so you don't see the emails coming in. You might have a notice on there, I'm away on appointments. I'll check my emails between this time and this time. Or, sorry, I'm not here to respond to your email. My goal is to respond to it within 3 hours. But put something in there and don't be afraid. We don't have to always be available. The next article that I have written that's going to be coming out in a few weeks is actually called the beauty of being unavailable. We're too available, and that doesn't always help us in our success. And then people, a lot of times it's the gotta minutes. If we're in the office, hey, can I ask you this? What are you doing? And sometimes we have to have boundaries set. We become successful by surrounding ourselves. So you have to start thinking about, who are you spending your time with? It's the environment, but also how can we set up boundaries? I know that when I was a managing broker, again,
Your audio is breaking up again.
Okay, is that better? Can you hear me a little better?
Yeah, it's a little better, but it's just kind of choppy.
Okay. Hopefully.
Now it's really, really low.
Okay. Is that better?
It's
Better?
Man, the volume is just not.
Let me see. Internet's okay. Let's see. What I've unmuted myself. Is that any better? I'm playing around with my system. Any better?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Is that better? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen. There we go. So the idea is that when I was a managing broker, I had a large office, almost 200 agents, and I would have to shut my door, and because I couldn't get things done, and people knew if I had my door closed, I wouldn't keep it closed all day, but maybe for 30-minute increments. Oftentimes I would have to tell people, I am in my zone right now. I'm making recruiting calls. I'm working on this class, or I have a report that I need to get done, but I'll be free in 30 minutes. Can I come and find you then? We have to be able to do this. If you're in more of a fishbowl, if you're in an open cubicle area, headphones are great, but we have to guide those. I actually do this. A lot of us I know are working from home. It's easier now that my son is older, but even when he was younger, I would kind of go and check on him and be like, listen, I'm going into my office. Do you need anything? Because I can't have interruptions for the next 30 minutes, and really just letting people know that. Sometimes when I teach, I might have to use my phone as the clock. Well, I tell my sisters because they'll go on text messaging rants. I'll be like, listen, I'm teaching, do not text me. Or again, I'll put it on do not disturb. So you've got to be able to share these goals and let people know when you're in your focus time so that you can stay more purposeful on everything that you're doing. So we really want to make sure that we're doing this. So again, control your attention and you will be able to control your business and you will be able to better control your life. So we've talked a lot about this, and the biggest problem is, again, we know the distractions are there. It's just a matter of discipline. The ones that really can get a handle on these strategies are the ones that are willing to make it a priority and bring in the discipline. So I have one last little study, and then we'll get into the strategies. This one is called the marshmallow effect, and you might be aware of this one. This one actually came out in 1964. It has been done several times since then in many different countries, and just all over in different languages, everything. What they did is they took children between the ages of 3 and 5 and they put them individually in a room. So they were alone, and they basically said, we are going to leave you alone for 2 minutes. We're going to give you this marshmallow. If in 2 minutes you do not eat the marshmallow, we are going to reward you with a second marshmallow. So all they had to do was sit in the room quietly. Not even quietly, they just had to sit in the room. The only thing they were not supposed to do is eat the marshmallow. Any guesses on how many succeeded? Only 30% succeeded. 70% ate their marshmallow. So they continued the study for another 15 years. They followed these same kids. So now the children are between the ages of 18 and 21. What they found is that the 30% that had the discipline to not eat the marshmallow also had higher SAT and ACT scores. They were accepted into more Ivy League schools. The ones that were in college oftentimes were on the dean list more than the other ones, and many already had jobs lined up for after graduation. So
Did they weigh more from all the marshmallows?
I don't think so.
All those extra marshmallows?
They had discipline, so they were the skinny ones, I guess. No s'mores for those people. But what they deduced from the study is that success lies in our ability to delay gratification. And if we can have the discipline to allow ourselves to not multitask and to not allow the distractions in, that is going to be a better indicator of success for us. I understand that discipline is not fun, but we've got to do it. So let's talk about some of the strategies to help us with this, because the idea is incremental change. Our lives become printouts of the small choices we make each and every day, all of the disciplines that we do. And the idea is short-term pain, long-term gain. And this is the idea behind distractions. If we can have the distractions today, it's uncomfortable today, but over time it becomes habit and it becomes much more comfortable for us. And these are the patterns of the successful people. The top 5% are the ones that are willing to implement these disciplines, implement these strategies. And they are so much further along, and their level of success, the trajectory, definitely outweighs the other ones that are not having the discipline. So let's talk about these strategies. The first one is you have got to have a plan. And we've talked about this before. The idea is you are running a company. Again, you're the CEO of your own company. So you've got to plan your week before it starts. This is going to allow you to start to get an idea of where the distractions are going to come in. What are the dates and deadlines I have so I'm not falling behind? Are there days that I need to be in the office? Are there days if I'm working from home, the entire family is going to be home? Do I have family or friends coming into town? What is happening so I can plan my time? If I know, like when I come to California, I'm an early bird. I still often work when I'm here, but I will front load my days. I still get up, so I'm up, and a lot of times I'm doing coaching calls earlier in the day so that I'm done by about 9 or 10 Pacific time. I talk with maybe my clients more on the Central and the East Coast time, because then when I come back, I can then hang out and play. But I can get all those things done while everybody is still sleeping and getting up and having their coffee. So you can sort of look for where these distractions might go and work with these. When items come in that might pull you off, you can ask yourself, if I choose to do this new activity, does it make good business sense? Does it support my end of the year goals? Maybe I have my week planned out and then I find out there's a meeting. Does going to this meeting make good business sense? You know what? It's with a developer and it's going to allow me to look at if I should take on this new development. That probably makes good business sense, so we might have to flip around. That would be a good distraction. But if I'm like, you know what? I really don't need to meet with that developer because that's not the type of business I want to run, then I don't want to go to the meeting or the class or whatever it may be. So you've got to start thinking about, if you say yes to this one thing, what do you then have to say no to? And making sure that all of the things you are saying yes to support your goals and the areas that you want to focus on. And if they don't, you need to pass. You need to say no to them and be able to move on. But the more you have a game plan together, it's going to help you get clear on where your focus needs to go for that week. And I apologize for all the phones. It's everyone calling my dad for his birthday. But you've got to stay focused in that and not be afraid to say no and move on. You also have to plan for the unexpected. So as you're making your plan, strategy 1B is you've got to block time for the gotta minutes. You got to block time for the unexpected, because things come up. The appraisals come back wrong. Something comes up with the inspection. A closing gets bumped. Something's not there. A listing loses the key out of the lockbox. You don't want to have stress. So oftentimes what I do is I have about 2 30-minute sessions. Usually one is in the late morning and one is more in the later afternoon. So I have that time blocked out as gray area, as just for my emergency time that comes up. Because this way, if I get an email or a text message that it's something I need to address, I'm like, I don't have to stop what I'm doing right now, because I can address that in a couple of hours when I have that time set aside. So you may want to have 3 times, a couple times, 1 time, but block out those times so that you don't have to stop everything you're doing or worry about multitasking. You already have the time blocked for those unexpected things that come up. So, working those. And then if you don't have it, then you could use that 30 minutes to take a break, to work on a different project, to make extra phone calls, whatever it is that you need to do if you don't have anything unexpected. But again, this is going to give your brain that peace of mind that you know when you have to handle things. So working on those. Any questions on strategy 1?
I haven't seen anything come in. What about when you're working in an office? What about having just a pre-designed sign up there that says,
Yep. A lot of people do that. They say, and this goes into one of our next strategies, so I'll bring it back up again, but you might even say, on calls, in my focus time, please come back in 30 minutes, whatever you want to say, but you can put a sign up so people do know what is happening so that they're aware of it. I think communication is key.
unavailable till 1 p.m. or.
Yep. So I think all those are important.
I've seen people do that on their voicemail too. They'll say, I return calls between 10 and 12 and 3 and 5.
Yeah. And the reality is, people have been taught to be afraid to leave voicemails and emails because most people don't return the calls. If we set the expectation from the front end and then follow through, people will be fine with it. I was terrified to do things like this. But if at the consultation you tell them, listen, my goal is to always return your call or your email within a 3-hour window, and then you do, they're going to be fine leaving you voicemails and emails because you've set the stage and you've set the expectation. So I think it's important to communicate with your team, with your clients, with everybody to let them know what's going on, just so that they're aware. So strategy number 2 is what I call bookending your days. As we know, our days can get crazy. But what we find is that if we have a way to start our day and a solid foundation to end our days, we can be more productive. So I encourage you to have a morning routine and then an end of the day routine. Your morning routine is all about how to set your day up and to get you grounded. So part of this is not checking your emails first thing in the morning, but you may want to be able to have something that's a little bit more structured, because then you can again deal with the days if you have some foundational pieces in the front. So here's an example of my morning routine. And my morning routine is my secret weapon. I love my morning routine, not because I love getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I love what it gives me. It makes me feel so stable, and it makes me feel so good, and so the days that I do it, I know that I am so much more productive. So I am an early bird. I do get up at 5 a.m. I generally do 20 minutes of either the treadmill, maybe going out for a walk, listening to a podcast. Then I do some journal writing. I do my handwritten notes, and then I identify, based upon my schedule, what are the top 3 things I need to get done every day. Maybe it's phone calls, maybe it's working on a report, maybe it's writing, whatever it is that I need to do, and then I can adjust my schedule if I need to alter anything. But this again allows me, I do all of this before I get into my voicemails and my emails. I do all of this before. You know, I really created this out of necessity. I had heard about things, and a lot of you may be familiar with The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and he talks about the same things. But it's really critical, again, to lay that foundation of success. And, you know, I did it because I was waking up maybe 6:30, 6:45, and Nicholas was waking up at the same time. And our mornings were crazy and chaotic and stressful. I don't have that anymore because I can get up, I can get all of these things done, I can get calmness, centering, grounding to myself, make him breakfast, and then when I get him up, it's fun, it's entertaining, and I don't feel like I'm always running behind. So I encourage you to have some sort of morning routine. It can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever is going to work for you. I did see a question come in, so is there a comment or a question? No? When do I go to bed? That's a great question. I'm an early to bed kind of girl too. And I generally start shutting it down 8:30, 9 o'clock. And that's kind of what I do. And my friends laugh at me. And if on the weekends we're going out, they're always like, are you going to take a nap? Because the movie starts at 8:15. And I'm okay with that. Because again, I know what this gives me. I just know for me, I need a solid 7.5 hours of sleep. That's really where I am. So I just pack it up, and I generally am crawling into bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock. So you can find what works best for you and, you know, work on that. And then what I do at the end of the day is I just, again, sort of close out my day. And the idea of this is if you had a real job and you were punching out at 5 o'clock at night, you would start packing up. You would start checking your voicemails and emails at about 4:30. Again, we want to start ending our day so that we can leave the office and then go home and be present. So some people do this as they're driving their car into the garage before they go into the house. Some people do this in their home office before they go have dinner. I do it at about 7:30 at night after I do homework with Nicholas and kind of get ready to start shutting it down. And I just start thinking about what are 3 things that I learned today? You know, what are 3 positive things that have happened? And then maybe I read something for 30 minutes. The idea is, again, to just quiet my mind, to just calm me down. I find that most people, by the end of the day, we are so focused on all of the things we did not get done. Let's focus on what we did get done, because maybe I didn't get everything done. We never get everything done, but maybe what I did get done was really cool. So we just want to end the day with positivity as well. So the idea is to have a morning routine and an end of the day routine. Any questions on strategy number 2, bookending your days? Okay. So strategy number 3 is what I call bubble time. This was a real game changer. And the idea is, so I'm going to explain it to you and then kind of bring it back to you. The idea is you need to have tight bubbles of focused time. Remember, we talked about multitasking and how multitasking doesn't work. What we need to do is we need to carve out time where we are not interrupted. So I'm going to give you an example of if we did this in the morning. So let's just say we used our morning time for our focus time, and we went from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11. Those are 3 bubble time sections. What I would do is from 8 to 8:45, I would step into my bubble and I would work on whatever it is that I need to work on for 45 minutes with 0 interruptions. No incoming calls, no incoming people, no incoming emails. Then at 8:45, I would step out of my bubble. I could address voicemails, I could address emails, go get a cup of coffee, whatever it is that I need to do. After I do that, then at 9 o'clock, I come back and I step back into my bubble and do another bubble time session. You can run this all day long. You can do 1 a day. You could do a couple a week. You can do bubble time for everything. I suggest doing it during your lead generating times, but I also do it when I'm cleaning my office. I do it when I'm writing. And the brain actually works at its most optimal level at about 45 to 50-minute increments. We are not designed to sit for 5 hours and work. We have to step away and just give our brain a chance to decompress. It is also this idea of urgent and important. We think that so many things that are coming in are urgent, but really they're important. A date or a deadline is not necessarily urgent, it's important. And if we're being very truthful, there are very few things that are absolutely urgent. An urgent thing would be, we got a call from the hospital and one of our family members is in the hospital. That's an urgent matter. Our listing is flooding. That's an urgent matter. But somebody saying the appraisal came back low, that's important. And it's very important. But it doesn't mean I need to drop everything that I'm doing right now. It just means I need to address it very soon. But we need to stop again being so openly available, and we've got to start looking at this. Now, the thing is, you're already doing bubble time. You just don't know it. If you are on a listing consultation, you're with that client for 60 to 90 minutes. Are you answering your phone? Are you answering your email? No, because you are with your client. And you've already allowed yourself. You just tell yourself it's acceptable then because you're on an appointment. This is where when we build this together with our time management skills, everything is an appointment. So calls to my sphere of influence, that's an appointment. Working on contracts, that's an appointment. Filing, that's an appointment. Everything you do, including your personal time, is an appointment. And this goes back with what I talked about is you've got to be able to set the stage. Again, I tell my clients, my goal is to get back with you within a 3-hour window. That way they know it's okay to leave me a voicemail and a message because I am going to call you back. And this way I can do that. I learned this the hard way. I was working, again, a lot of you know from my story before, I was on a large team. We were closing about 45 transactions a month. They were all going through me. So I was working from about 4:30 in the morning till about 9 o'clock at night. I was 26 years old. I had an ulcer. I was completely sleep deprived. It was not good. And this is what my mentor told me I needed to do. And I was terrified. I started looking at it from a client perspective. I was looking at the feedback I was getting from my clients. And the feedback was, Clara's good at her job, but she always sounds rushed. We always feel like we're interrupting her, and she always needs to call us back with the information. That's not really great feedback to be getting from your clients. When I started doing this, almost overnight, the feedback shifted to she is on top of things. She always calls us back when she says she's going to call us back, and she always has the answers to our questions. That is what we want our clients to say. So the bubble time is critical. You may want to start small. Maybe you start with 25 minutes. Maybe you start with 30 minutes. Again, start with 2 of them a week. But we can get so much done in a 45-minute increment when we are not distracted. Again, we have to have that discipline. So when I started doing this, I put my phone in a drawer because I didn't want to be tempted. Again, I shut down my emails. Work intently on what you need to work on, and then take your 15 minutes. And sometimes my 15 minutes was an email or a text message back to them. I got your message. I'm going to be on appointments until 11, but I will get that information and call you back between 11 and 12. They know I addressed it. They know when I'm calling them back. We're good to go, and I can step back into my bubble. So it is extremely critical and probably one of the best strategies that most of my clients really grab onto. Any questions about bubble time? This is also, where you put the sign up and say, I'm in my bubble, but work on doing it. Any questions or comments on bubble time?
Just a reminder, I think everybody knows by now, but that in order to ask a question, you've got the Q&A option at the bottom of the screen. You just click on that and type your question in. So go ahead, Clara. Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Number 4, how to say no. You have to learn to say no. Everyone is afraid to say no, but again, the discipline, because saying yes is easy. It brings no conflict. But no actually brings us control and power. Remember, whoever controls your life controls your business. So we've got to be able to really look at these. And the idea is we just have to learn to say no when it's the right time and also the right way to do it. Saying no could sound like, I would love to show you that property at 10 a.m. However, I have a previously set appointment. I can show you at 11:30 or at 2. That's saying no, but they don't hear it that way. It could be, I would love to go to that event, but you know what? I am already booked up, or I already have committed myself to something else on that day. But let me know when that comes around again. Or simply you can say, no, that doesn't sound like it's of interest to me. You've got to be able to have the courage and the discipline to do this. Again, I learned this by saying, things like, I can't do that walkthrough at this time, but I can do it at this time or this time. What I find is about 90% of the time, they can wiggle room with you around it. It's that 10%, and we can deal with the 10%. We can alter our schedule 10% of the time, but we don't want to be altering our schedule 90% of the time. And when we say yes and we don't really mean it, it brings in resentment. It pulls us off track. So we cannot be afraid to do that. Because remember, if you say yes to something, you also have to say no to something. And oftentimes what we're doing is we're saying no to us. We're saying no to our goals. We're saying no to our families and the relationships that are important to us. They don't need to know what your appointment is. They do not need to know that your appointment is a hair appointment or a massage or going out to play golf or whatever it is. It's an appointment, and we need to start holding true to those appointments and everything that we're doing.
We do have one question. Angela asks,
I see it.
How do you shut down long-winded prospects and clients who eat up your time?
Yes, that is a hard one, and it does take certain finesse. And, so a lot of times what I do is I set the stage. So if I know that I have someone that is long-winded, I always set the stage of how long this is going to be. So if I'm going on a listing or a buyer consultation, I might even say, just so you know, our time together, we have about an hour today to go through this because my next appointment's at 1:30. Or you know what, I had 5 minutes before my next appointment, but I wanted to give you a call back. So sometimes just preempting it and letting them know how long you are available. Sometimes it's just having to break it and just say, you know what, I hate to cut you off, but as I mentioned, I have another appointment coming in and I do need to run and go, take that client or go meet with that client. If it's something urgent, if somebody just told me that they're having something major going on, I probably will say, can I give you a call back later today? But most of the time they're like, oh yeah, no worries, we can go ahead. So I think the best thing is to just really set the expectation, and do that to let them know and sort of preempt it with how much time we have to go. So that's been a helpful one for me to be able to do that. So hopefully that will help.
You were talking about saying no or reluctantly saying yes, and that kind of goes back to the story you told about when you were busy. People thought that they pick up on that. If you reluctantly say yes, they pick up on the body language or just the tone of your voice, and they know that you didn't really want to be doing that, or you're really busy and you didn't have time for them.
It's so true. And the other thing I noticed is, first of all, every other profession does this. We just don't feel we can do it. And again, it's that scarcity mindset. But I don't call the doctor and say, oh, I woke up today with the sniffles. I'm free at 9:30, so I'll see you then. They're like, oh, you're cute, but we have an opening at 2:45. Do you want it or not? You know, and we have to start guarding our time, you know, and working on that. And I remember, you know, in doing these, if I was like, no, you know, I can't do that at 5:30, I can meet you at, you know, at 4 or at 6. You know, if they were like, well, we really need to do it then, I'd be like, let me see what I can do. And then if I tried to wiggle with it and I said, you know what, I can't do 5:30, but I can do 5:45. Oh yeah, we'll take it. And they would be there and they would respect my time. You've got to learn to protect and respect your time so they do it as well. Any other questions on saying no? Okay. This one is really good, also kind of with the bubble time, to let you really get a true and honest look at what you're doing. So I was working with one of my clients, and she is a social butterfly. She loves to work in the office because she does feed off the interaction. But as we know, those interactions can also be extremely distracting. So we were tracking her time, and we knew that her dollar per hour at the time was about $150 an hour. So if we look at that, that means that every 20 minutes was about $50 worth of her time. So every time she got up to get a cup of coffee, if she was to get distracted by the conversations and get pulled into another conversation for 20 minutes, that cup of coffee was actually costing her $50. Now, I'm a coffee drinker and I love my coffee, but I have not yet found a cup of coffee that's worth $50. So we have to start thinking of these, because again, every time if I go on Facebook to look for people's birthdays, that's great. But if I get distracted along the way is looking at videos and getting involved in other things, that is costing me my productive time. So what we did is, for an entire week, I had her do hash marks of every time, every 20-minute increment that she was losing. At the end of the week, it added up to about $1,250. Think about how that compounds over the course of 52 weeks a year. Again, we are losing time, we are losing money. So again, work for the 40 minutes and then take the 20 minutes, the 15 minutes off, and use your time well. But sometimes we don't realize how lost in distractions we're getting until we really start being honest with it. So you may want to use the hashtags and start getting a clear and really real look at how you're getting distracted, so that you can then learn, what am I getting distracted with? And then what are some of the solutions, some of the strategies for those specific types of distractions? So what I'd love to have you guys do is just start looking, you know, over the next 30 days, which one of these strategies might work best for you? Is it in doing the bubble time? Is it in learning how to be better at saying no or setting expectations? You know, is it in planning your week and starting to really be honest about what are your hours of operations need to look at for the week? But remember, we are losing 2 to 3 hours a day in distractions. So we have to start working smarter. We cannot be so attached to our phones, to our emails. We cannot have that fear of missing out. Think about when you are on an appointment. You do not check your voicemails and your emails, and everything works out okay. So stepping into your bubble, having some boundaries, having some disciplines for short periods of focused attention, it's going to be okay. So with that, any other questions or comments that any of you have?
You know, Carrie Pierce, one of our top brokers, she actually has in her email signature that she's available, as I recall, it's from 10 to 5 and 7 to 9, and Saturday and Sunday by appointment only. And that's like shocking to most real estate brokers, but it obviously didn't negatively impact her.
No, and I think again, it goes back to the quality and level of service that she's providing for her people. And they also know, because she's holding true. I had a husband and wife team, and this was back in the late 90s, and business was booming back then. And they worked again, you know, Monday through Friday. They did one appointment on Saturdays in the morning and then took Saturday afternoon and Sunday off. They still made over $350,000 that year, because again, it's not that our clients, and this is another reason working by referral and working with our sphere is so important. They want us to have downtime. They know how important it is. They just want to know they're going to be taken care of. So as long as you can set the expectation and let them know, they're going to be fine. It's the unknown that they're afraid of. So again, we have to do a better job. Also, when I'm sitting down with someone, if I say, listen, my goal is to always get back with you within a 3-hour window. Also, just know if you call me after about 7 o'clock at night, you're probably not going to hear from me until the next day because I go to bed at 8:30. If they're like, well, no, that doesn't work for me, they're not the right client for me. And that is okay, because there is somebody that's going to answer their calls at 11 o'clock at night because that's how they work. So it's going to help make sure that you are in control of your business. It is your process, and the right people, the law of abundance, the right people will honor you, respect you, and work with you.
So I don't see any questions coming in on this, so it sounds like you were very clear on all of these processes. Can you talk a little bit about next month's training and what we're going to be doing then?
Yeah, so we're just coining it Ask a Ninja. We know that the market is always changing, regardless of what we have going on now or whatever, but we always want to make sure that we're giving you solutions. So what we're doing is going to be me and my partner, Natalie. We are, both the Ninja coaches, and we just want to have an open forum where you can ask us any questions. It could be about the Ninja system. It could be about business planning. It could be about time management. We just want to give you an open dialogue. If you are having struggles, how do I get listings? How do I ask for referrals without asking them? What's one of the best business practices that you see? We want to kind of, start looking at what are some of the top challenges that we're having and be able to give you some solutions so that you're just stronger and more well-equipped, to handle these things and to take better care of your clients and your business.
And we're going to put together an input process. So when you register for the class, there'll be a link so you can put your questions in ahead of time. So we'll be able to collect the questions and get them organized. But of course, you'll be able to ask questions live as well. But being able to put your question ahead of time while you're thinking about it, or if you've signed up for the class, you went, oh, I want to ask Clara about that, you'll be able to put it in and make sure that it gets addressed.
Love it. Oh, beautiful.
Well, if nobody has any more questions, Clara, do you have anything else you want? Do you want to talk briefly about the live training again that's coming hopefully this spring?
Yeah, again, it's the 4-day Ninja installation, and it's our premier training, and it really does give you the system. Ninja is not just about selling. It's really, a lifestyle that helps you not only change your business and increase your business by 20% or more, but just have you run a more purpose-driven business and also have a life in everything that we do. So it's 4 days. We focus on giving you the mindset of success and how to live in that mindset of abundance over scarcity. We teach you the system and how to stay connected and always make sure that you're adding value. Then we talk about our 16-step seller process and also our 10-step buyer process. So it's really an amazing, amazing training. It is unlike anything you've ever seen before. We've been teaching it for over 30 years now, and most of the comments that I get from people who are seasoned agents are, wow, I wish I would have had this 15, 20 years ago. A lot of the newer agents love it because it really gives them the direction where they need to go. And then the agents that have been in the business, maybe, 3 to 7 years, it just, again, gets them motivated, inspired, and just gives them some better tools in their toolbox. So look for that. It's 4 days. I know 4 days is a lot, but it goes by in a flash, and it's a game changer.
4 days is a small investment when it can change your business so dramatically.
Yeah, it really does. So I did see a couple other questions come in.
So one was asking, Al was asking if there's a list of past podcasts, and I answered yes, it'll go out with the summary of the class. And then Julie just asked, she just said, this has been so helpful. Thank you.
Good. You're so welcome. So, fantastic. Well,
All
you
right.
guys go and keep doing great things. Stay safe, stay healthy, have fun, and stay productive.
All right. Thanks, Clara. See you next week. Or next month, excuse me.
Yes, I'll see you next month. Bye.